Welcome back to my channel, everybody. This is Chad and the Right Line, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. I have come back for another episode on this Jeep JK Rubicon axle build. This axle is going to be going into my son's TJ. If you watched the last video, I talked about how I got all this truss welded on. This is Artec's JK2TJ axle bracket kit, and it converts this Rubicon JK axle to the TJ axle platform. So lots of benefits. I talked about that in the last video, but today I need to mount this new hose. Now I have to mount this hose because I can't measure for the custom hoses, brake hoses from to the calipers yet. I have to do that, and so this hose has to be mounted. Now it's been like a month since this last video that I uploaded because I have been waiting on this hose kit. This is a TJ stock, well, not stock, it's 4-inch lift, but regardless, it's a TJ hose kit from Crown Performance, and I've been waiting for that hose kit since May 12th. I ordered it from Northridge. Northridge apparently couldn't get the order fulfilled, didn't bother to tell me. I ended up having to cancel the order and order directly through Crown, and it just took a little bit longer. So regardless, finally got the hoses, and now I can go ahead and get that mounted. After that hose gets mounted, I can measure for the custom length ones that go out to the calipers. Now, Crown Performance makes custom steel braided lines just like this in whatever color you want, whatever length you want. You just have to tell them what ends you have so they can make sure it has the right ends. And in any case, that's what my plan is for the brake hoses for this JK axle. And then once that's done, this diff is ready for gears and bearings and some paint, and it's ready to go. It's hot as balls here in Arizona, so don't mind my fan going. I'm in the garage. I'm going to see how long I can stomach the heat today. But in any case, I'm going to get to mounting this hose, and I got some options. I'm going to kind of tell you what I'm looking at here. But before we do that, just want to let everybody know about my Artec promo code that you can use at checkout at Artec's website for 15% off all of your Artec products that you might need. Just use the code capitals TRL in the promo code box at checkout, and it'll save you 15% on all your Artec parts. On the TJ, this factory brake hose lives right in here, right between the track bar bracket and the diff. And what's different from that and the JK is that the TJ has one center hose that goes up to the frame, and then it goes down to the master cylinder. On the JK, there's a hose on this side, and there's one on this side. They feed down from the frame, and that's what connects to the calipers. We don't have that. So just to keep it as stock as I can, I'm going to mount this. And I try to figure out a way to put this on this diff where it's going to be functional and it's going to be safe. And I want to stick it someplace in here because it's going to be the most protected. I don't want it down back here where anyway we could back up onto something and cause damage. It's got to stay out of the way of the track bar, which is going to be moving up and down right here. And so my initial thought was I wanted to put it right in here, just like factory. It'd be really well protected in there, but the only problem with that is that the truss is in the way here and here for the two hoses that have to go out to the side. And although I would like for that to be the case, that this be here, that'd be great. It's not going to work for those two hoses, and I'm not going to drill a hole in these two gusset pieces because, oh, that'd just be a nightmare. My other thought was to put a plate here to here and mount it right in there like that, but then I think it's going to be too close to where the track bar is going to swing, and I'm not too keen on that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount it right there on the truss. I'll notch this out, drill a hole and notch this out, so the hose is going to live right inside of here. I'll cover that part of the hose with rubber so that it can't abrade, and I'll smooth those edges out so it'll be nice and protected. And this will put that brake hose tucked in here nice and tight, so it's going to be protected. If it's notched here, it's going to be out of the way of the track bar, which is going to be good. And then that gives me plenty of room to run the two additional hoses from here over this, through the hole here, and then down the coil bucket to the caliper on that side, and then over the top of the diff, down the tube, and over to the caliper on that side. Once I get that mounted, I can measure for those crown hoses, call them up, get them custom made, and they'll be on their way. The really frustrating part about this whole project has been the waiting game for parts. So far, so good. But having to wait for this brake hose put me back a month. And it's been really, really frustrating for me because I want to get this done. We have a little bit of a deadline. We're trying to get this Jeep build done before next May because my son and I are doing the Nevada BDR to go visit Grandpa in Idaho. And we want to get these axles done. We have some suspension stuff we want to get done for this TJ. We've got to make it as reliable as possible. The Nevada BDR is 900 miles in the dirt, basically, right up the center of Nevada. And it's extremely secluded. And I want to make sure this Jeep is as good as I can get it. And so this has kind of been frustrating for me because I'm going to be going out here shortly. I have an ankle surgery scheduled. And if you know me, you kind of know how long I've been dealing with an ankle injury since 2000, I think it was. I fell rock climbing and broke an ankle, and the ankle's just been downhill ever since. And it's finally gotten to the point now where I'm old enough that they'll consider doing a replacement, which is what needs to be done. So I'm waiting for that. And so I'm not necessarily feeling like I'm under the gun, but I want to get this finished. And not only do I have to get this rear diff done, but I've got a front to build as well. I've got a front Dana 30, high pinion Dana 30 to build. And so I just want to get on it. We'll see what happens. So as these videos come available, I'm going to post them up for you. Not necessarily a how-to, but just to kind of show you how I've dealt with some of the stuff we've got to deal with for this conversion, because it's been done, and there are some companies that make some cool products that make it easier, and that's what we're hoping for. I mentioned that it's hot as balls here in Arizona. Yesterday we had our highest temperature recorded so far in this year at 117 degrees. It was hot, that's for sure. And out here in the garage, I got the fan going and the garage door down. It's not quite as bad, but I know right around 11 o'clock or so, maybe 10, it'll be time to close down and go inside. I love Arizona. If you didn't see the first video, just give you an idea what we're dealing with here. We have a 2001 Jeep TJ Sport with the 4-liter automatic 3-speed transmission, and it still has the factory Dana 35 and Dana 30 in the front, and those are about to go bye-bye. And in their place is going to go a JK Rubicon rear Dana 44 with 32 spline axle shafts and an electric locker. In the front is going to go a high pinion JK Dana 30, and it's going to have an Eaton E-locker in it. And I think I'm going to convert it over to 30 spline axle shafts and locker. I just learned that Eaton makes an E-locker that's 30 splines, but it keeps the 32 spline outer. So I think I'm going to do that. The Jeep has a 3-inch lift. We're going to put some adjustable control arms on it, slip yoke eliminator, new drive shafts, And soy bar disconnects in the front, and it's going to be ready to go. I'm finding this part of the job, this part of the project, to be really fun. Kind of playing around with modifying everything. Oh, that's going to be awfully close to the inside of that truss there. Let's see here. That'll just allow the hose to pass through there. Gonna have to widen that a little bit. So now what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my grinder and I'm gonna extend that up and around here, kind of widen this just a smidge, cut that out of there, smooth it all up, grind it down so it looks nice, test fit it, and then move on to this part down here. Sometimes in my garage I find it very frustrating that I set something down and then I don't remember where I put it. Like my safety glasses. Now I got them, so we're gonna be okay. We're gonna go ahead and cut this, hopefully make short work of it. I'm not sure if a lot of you like this kind of content, but I just needed to film something to get some content out because I know it's been a while and I thought maybe somebody might like it. Actually see the work being done. Fire in the hole. I'm not showing you my workbench because it's really messy right now. That's all right. I'm sure a lot of people's workbenches is really messy right now. My son says that a sign of somebody who's brilliant is a messy workstation. That's what he says. You should see his RC table, his RC desk, where he does all of his remote control building. He's really pretty good at it. Fire in a hole. All right, so that'll live right in there. That's plenty of room for some hose to go around it to insulate it. Now all we got to do is clean up this hole, round those edges, make it look nice, and then I can drill a hole down below. While the air compressor is charging up, I wanted to tell you how useful I've been finding these auger bits. And I found these on Amazon. And it comes with a whole set, minus the big one here that I had before. But I've been using these for pretty much about anything metal that I just need to clean up, like that hole over there. And they work fantastic. If you haven't used them before, I find that they work best with air. I have used them in the electric drill, but they don't work quite as well. And we're going to make quick work of that. We're going to clean all that up, test fit it. These types of tools take a lot of air volume, and my little compressor isn't enough for a lot of real extended sustained use. I have to do it in bursts, but that's okay because most of the stuff that I'm using it for is short stuff like this, just to clean that up. I would like to have a nice big compressor, but I don't have any room in this garage. With the Overland trailer in here, I've run all out of room. Safety glasses again, you don't want to go without those. That's a quick way to get a trip to the ER. We don't want that today. It's my day off. They need me at work tomorrow. Knock down all these sharp edges wherever this hose is going to be run, because that's the last thing we need, is to have a hose problem and a leak. Hello. All right. We'll go back to the grinder and the flat disc for the rest of that. Whew. It's getting hot in here. How many of you live in Arizona? And how many of you stomach the heat like this? Now, granted, I'm inside, so I don't have the sun beat down on me, but how many of you stomach the heat like this and bear it? More power to you, man. I have a friend of mine who has a landscaping business. And I asked him, why do you do it? I think it's because he loves it. Isn't it the point? If we love what you do, it's not really a job, right? Woo! Almost done. I thought of, and some of you might be thinking, well, why didn't you just do this? I actually thought of drilling a hole in the diff in the tube and put a breather. I have a breather over here. It's in the exact, basically the exact same spot. Some of you might be thinking, why doesn't he just drill a hole right there, put in a new breather, and put the hose on top of that, just like it is from the factory on the TJ? And there is one over here. And I thought of doing that right here, but the problem I would face is, even if I mounted that brake hose here, I still have the issue with those two gussets here and here, and I can't run the hoses out to the side to go out to the calipers. So All right, how's that look? Smooth all the edges. Not too bad. Not too bad. How's that hose gonna look in there if I set that in like that? Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, that's gonna be great. That's gonna be great. I'm gonna put a rubber hose on that steel braided line from about the top of the aluminum block there up to just the top of the truss, so that if this hose gets any side-to-side motion like this, if it does, it won't abrade on the sides of that truss. Yeah, that's not so bad. I give it the Joseph test, I call it. I rub all the edges for sharp stuff. When Joseph was little, he used to like to hang out with me in the garage, and he would touch everything that I was building, and I didn't want any sharp edges for him to cut his hands on. Oh, hello. So that's what I called the Joseph test. Touch all the edges, make sure there's nothing sharp. Okay, next let's drill this hole, figure out where we're gonna mount that, and then I'm gonna have to go to the hardware store and get a bolt. All right, I have in my arsenal here in the garage Sharpies, all kinds. I have bronze ones. My family got me these for stocking stuffers this year. I like the ink ones. I like to mark fasteners after I've torqued them. Anyways, some of these pens are likely old enough to vote. They probably need to go in the garbage, but regardless, I try to find one that's going to work well. Let's see here. I want to get that down as low as I can. Nope, maybe, yeah, maybe there. Maybe the center of that hole. That gives me plenty of room. So the hose is going to come out right here and right there. And this gives me plenty of room to get a wrench in there. And it clears this if I lower that down. Yeah, right about there. Centered in my hole up here. Oop. Yeah, that'll work. I think that'll work. Let me lower that down a little further. Now, I don't know if you can see that, but now that hole here, it's right about there, will definitely clear here. That won't be in the way, and that hose will come out and up and over. And this one will come out and down. So, haha, look at that. Nice. I was wondering if it was going to go deep enough to do that. Anybody watching this video think this is a terrible idea? I think it's a good idea. Actually going to go just a little bit higher than where I marked that hole. Yep, that's it. Okay. Where's my punch and my hammer? I told you I wasn't going to show you my bench, but I lied. It's a mess. How in the world does Chad find anything on that table? Right there. Good thing you didn't see me hit my hand. That would have been really embarrassing. Not quite unbearable in here just yet, but we're getting there. So I did some homework with this build, and what I found is that the rear axle is pretty straightforward. There's not too many issues with that. What I did find with the front, and we'll get to that point when we actually get ready to install these diffs, is that the front is going to require a new pitman arm on the Jeep because the taper for the JK and TJ pitman arms are different. And I found out through RPM steering here, local in Arizona, that Rock Jock sells a replacement pitman arm that has the JK taper in it. And I'll see if I can get a screenshot of that right here. That'll take care of the steering for the front axle. We're going to do RPM Steering's aluminum kit over the knuckle with a raised track bar bracket on the axle. Basically the identical setup that's on my JK. And the other thing we need to do is relocate the frame side track bar bracket a little bit further forward. Actually, it needs to change orientation because the way that the factory TJ is, the track bar bracket is only single shear and it bolts onto the bottom of the track bar bracket. The new bracket is going to be double shear and it'll be moved forward. I think it's about 1 inch or 3/4 of an inch forward on the frame, but it'll be double shear, just like the JK has. So they're going to make it significantly stronger, more reliable. So I can't wait. I mean, this is going to be an awesome project. Get all this done. I can't wait, man. This is going to be awesome. Joe's getting pretty psyched too. You know, I don't even know what size bolt I need. I didn't even figure that part out. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to start with, there's the pilot that I just drilled right there, of course, but I think, all right, yeah, it's going to be a little bigger than that. So we'll go to that one at some point. And next we'll go up to this one, 1/4 inch. That's a 1/4 inch truss. It's pretty thick. So I want to make sure that I don't overheat my drill bits drilling into that. All I'm doing is I'm using the hose as a guide for the drill bit. That's going to be too small. I'm okay with it being just a little bit sloppy. That's okay. That's all right. I'm not too worried about that. I think 7/16 will be the way to go. What size is that? 3/8. Okay, so we got a plan. Although I think my 7/16 is really dull. Yeah, I'll sharpen that. All right. Let's just keep going. All right. You don't want me to see drill these holes. I'll come back to you when I'm done. Do you ever have a whole lot of hardware left over and you wondered, geez, I wonder if I'm ever going to use that? Over the years, I just collected so much. All right, there we go. Nice and snug. Now, don't worry about the bolt. It's definitely not going to be the bolt. Nice and accessible from the front. I'm going to put rubber hose up to about there, through here, to protect that against those edges. They're nice and smooth, but I don't, just, you know, just to make sure that it's going to be safe. Okay, there we go. Now, the hose to the left caliper is going to come out here. Same thing on this side. It gives me plenty of room here for the hose to come out and up and down to the caliper over there, and then it'll come out and come around the gussets here, go down right through that hole, come down here and out to that caliper there. And to tie those down, I'm going to use this type of fastener. I've got 2 boxes of these things from when I did the Overland trailer build that are left over. So I'm going to use those to tie that hose down. Now, what I can do is I'm going to use some wire, and I'm going to bend, maybe a coat hanger. I'm going to bend a piece of wire that goes from the center of this around the gussets, down through that hole, underneath the coil bucket, and out to the caliper, so I can measure for length. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and then I can call Crown Performance, give them the hose lengths that I have, the ends that I have, give them the application. They can custom make them. I don't know what they're going to cost yet. It'll take about 10 to 14 days to get them, and then the brake hoses will be done. So I'm super excited about that. And so that'll be on the next video. I'll get that to you. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Hope you like this video. This will be number 2 of this JK2TJ swap series. And I'm hoping that soon enough I can start cutting the brackets off the front high pinion Dana 30 and then start working on that. So anyways, if you like what you saw, leave a comment down below, hit the like button, share it if you like it. Don't forget the RTEC promo code if you're looking for RTEC products. Code is TRL at checkout, saves you 15%. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend.